It's good to have you with us for France 24 special coverage of the world's largest election. I'm Delano D'Souza and this is India Votes. On the show today, we are joined by acclaimed Indian author and activist Arundhati Roy from New Delhi. Arundhati, thank you very much for joining us here on France 24 today. A lot of the analysts which we've been speaking with say that Narendra Modi started off his tenure on the right foot, but somewhere along the way he got lost. Do you agree with that assessment?
Of course, I don't agree with it, because I've been a critic of Narendra Modi since 2002. I have been a critic of his tenure as chief minister when he was divisive, when he was chief minister while a massacre of Muslims took place. Some of those who were subsequently convicted of mass murder were made, before they were convicted, were made ministers, and so on. It was a terrible blight on this country, on us as a people, and I was actually appalled at how liberals and people who call themselves secular allowed themselves to forget what had happened and welcomed him as prime minister. Subsequently, of course, when he campaigned to become prime minister, he put on a business suit and he promised development. A lot of corporate heads supported him.
Indeed.
And I think they feel let down by him because he basically shot off the tires of an economy that was on the move.
Because, Arundhati, there is this portion of the Indian population, urban, middle class, very liberal, who now know full well who Narendra Modi surrounds himself with, people who want India to be a country for Hindus. But they still say that Modi is good for the economy. What do you say to them? Are they just delusional?
Of course, they are delusional because, the fact that when Modi announced his policy of demonetization, which basically made 90% of Indian currency illegal, not legal tender anymore, it caused a huge loss to the economy. Many of the statistics were hidden. But a lot of poor people have lost their jobs. That was followed by the GST, which dealt an even harsher blow in some ways. So right now, frankly, it's hard to understand what's going on here because you're looking at a moment where even Modi is not pretending that he's good for the economy. He's not talking about it. He's just talking about national security. And even that is a mystery because we just had the most violent terrorist strike that has ever been conducted in Kashmir.
But has he succeeded in changing the conversation from the economy?
A sort of debacle.
But has he succeeded in changing the conversation from the economy, things that what it should be, economy, jobs?
I don't think he has, and I don't think he's going to win the elections. But, we do have a corporate media that is trying to mask what is really going on. So, one has to look elsewhere to feel the pulse. It's such a huge country. There's so much going on. So I won't say that, I know everything. But from what I hear, no one's going to win the elections. It's going to be a big negotiation afterwards, but certainly he's not going to win.
So you think the Congress party is going to come out on top, even though during their last tenure they were accused of inertia?
I don't think anyone's going to come out on top, honestly. I think it's going to be hard negotiation, I think the Congress is going to do much better than it has. And of course, the Congress is in some ways pretty changed now, and although I have been a very harsh critic of the Congress, I've been pretty impressed by their manifesto. I think a lot of hard work went into it, and I do think it's a very radical thing and an important thing to do, to promise a living wage to 20% of this country's poorest people.
Speaking of this country's poorest people, Arundhati, each week we hear directly from a voter in India, thanks to our team at the France 24 Observers. This week we shine the spotlight on India's caste system. Outlawed since independence in 1947, it still condemns people to a lifetime of poverty. The system divides Hindus into 4 castes. The rest of the population are known as Dalits, previously called untouchables. They make up between 15 to 20% of the Indian population. Decades of affirmative action have guaranteed the community spots at universities, but as our observer Sneha Magar tells us, discrimination is alive and well on Indian campuses. Take a listen.
It's a community of people which is oppressed, suppressed and humiliated, exploited by upper caste people in India. When I was student union vice president of Tata Institute of Social Sciences, I had very bad experience of humiliation and exploitation. People grabbed my mic, people did not allow me to talk, they abused me in the public meeting. Secondly, when you are a Dalit woman, you are a black Dalit woman, people take you into consideration that you are easily available for them for sex, and all these things done by upper caste people in the campus and upper caste people in India. When we talk about Lok Sabha election of India 2019, then it is very clear for me, being a Dalit woman, that we don't want BJP to be in power again. This is because lot of rape cases, atrocities and mob lynching has happened in the this BJP government. I want to see government in the power which will look forward for women empowerment, which will create alternative livelihood resources for the women who are there in sex work and in manual scavenging also.
That was our observer for this week. Arundhati Roy, do you think the Congress party is the best equipped to help this woman?
See, as I keep saying, it's not going to be the Congress party, you know. There's going to be a coalition. Now you have in Uttar Pradesh, which has the largest number of parliamentary seats in this country, the Mahagathbandhan, which is a coalition of Mayawati's Bahujan Samaj Party and the SP, the Samajwadi Party, both a coalition of Dalits and what are called OBCs, other backward castes, you know. And I think they are, their coming together is going to push the BJP out of the picture. But the fact is that, you know, I do want to say that when we speak of Modi and when we speak of the BJP, we must keep in mind that they are only a political department of the main power in India, which
The
is
RSS.
the RSS, you know, which is a proto-fascist cultural organization set up in 1925, which has now more than 600,000 volunteers, among whom is Modi himself. It is a pretty secretive but powerful organization. Its senior posts have historically mostly been Chitpavan Brahmins, very, very privileged Brahmins, who are wholly invested in declaring India a Hindu nation. And that involves keeping in place the caste system.
Arundhati, I want to ask you something, because last year you met the French president. Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Last year you met the French president, Emmanuel Macron, when he was in India. How honest were you with him during your meeting? Because it didn't stop him from hugging Narendra Modi the very next day and sailing down the Ganges with Yogi Adityanath, a man who has said that India is a country for Hindu people.
I was absolutely honest about my opinion of these people, and I was certain that my honesty was not going to prevent anyone from hugging anyone or sailing down the river with anyone, because there was hard business to be conducted, you know, including the Rafale deal. So I was not naive in my belief that I could change any of that, but I still thought it was worth putting it down on the table, you know.
Okay. Now, polls suggest Modi will be back, even though you, in your gut, don't believe he will be back for a second term. Could the polls be right, given that we are living in an age of populism, whether it's Donald Trump in America, Matteo Salvini in Italy, Bolsonaro in Brazil?
I just don't think so, I don't think the polls are right. I mean, of course, I could be wrong because this is an occult science here. But I don't think the polls are right. In any case, it certainly can't be the BJP alone. It has to find some allies. It doesn't have many allies.
What about the BJP in power with somebody else as Prime Minister?
And he certainly has. I think that's their best case scenario, But personally, I just think that it's not going to be that. But it could be. As I said, no one is going to win this election. So, and the BJP today, especially after demonetization, has more money than all the parties put together. And there's a lot of buying and selling that goes on, which is really very sad, buying and selling of members of parliament,
Is Rahul Gandhi ready to be Prime Minister, given that he wasn't in 2014?
Well, look, I think Rahul, I feel a respect for him, seeing the way he was battered and mocked. And I was also one of those, people who was mocking him, or not mocking him, but I didn't take him seriously. But he has come into his own. He is making a lot of sense. I don't know whether he'll be Prime Minister, but I think he has made a difference to the conversation in this election. And I think he's a person who's willing to listen to other people. He's not the guy who's going to just appear one morning and declare 90% of the currency redundant. So whoever comes and whatever the chaos, it will be better than what is happening now, because I feel that sorry my dogs are, just let them be. They'll fight.
Arundhati Roy, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today. That's it for this edition of India Votes. Catch us again the same time next week. From all of us on the team, thank you very much for watching.